The XXL freshman list has always been a source for the general public to learn where the sound of hip-hop is going and what's currently popular. Each year, 10 newer rappers are selected for the list to represent the new and current sounds in hip-hop. For years, the freshman list has been faced with criticism from many, including myself, due to their choices. However, as time passes, I think it's more important to look at the sound of hip-hop when the freshman class is selected, rather than the individuals. Welcome to the Bar for Bar podcast, and this week I'm discussing the XXL freshman list. Now, don't get me wrong, the individuals are very important too, because, they're chosen. And they're chosen to represent a particular sound. The overall sound of what's currently or what's going to be popular may result in having more than one artist kind of representing that particular subgenre or sound. But even then, they should be seen as the voice of that sound because they're popular enough to be selected for the list. If we look back to 2016's list, we'd see artists like 21 Savage, Kodak Black, and Lil Uzi Vert, all of whom pretty much dominated the trap sound for a while. And Uzi kind of is like in that weird in-between spot where it's not fully trap, but it's kind of like melodic rap, and that's still very popular today. And obviously trap music is the most popular subgenre right now, although I do feel like it is kind of fading away a little bit. But this is why we're starting to see, I don't know how in-depth people are, but you see the drill sound, especially from New York, really making that splash on the scene, really. So that's why you see artists like Fabio Foreign on this year's list. Now, to be fair, Pop Smoke was originally going to be on the list, but unfortunately he passed. So I guess they just kind of found the next best person. But Fabio Foreign is a pretty solid choice. I think the only other option would have been really like Chef G or something. Personally, though, I feel like in the last couple years, the list has been pretty hard to pin down, because we're at the point where hip-hop has, although there's these super popular subgenres like trap, drill, and melodic rap, there's still a lot of other types of rap that are getting attention. You have a lane for conscious rap, and there's a lot of overlap. And there's a bunch of other subgenres that I'm sure I'm not even fully aware of. I just kind of think, it's just rap. But the other thing that makes it kind of difficult is that the sound of hip-hop doesn't necessarily change every year. So like I mentioned, we had 2016's list with a lot of trap artists, and that sound has continued on for at least 4 years now. So we're gonna be at the point where there's not much change on the list, and we're just you're just picking the newest artist that's popular right now, and that's fine. The point is to showcase artists that are up and coming in their particular lane, and also that if that lane happens to be popular, obviously they'll be on the list. If the lane's not as popular, or if they don't have as much of a following, then yeah. That's why we got, I think it was 2013's list, where we had Nipsey Hussle and I don't remember who else was on it. But, the 2013 list was where a lot of people are yo, that was the last good list. I guess, but that was a different time for hip-hop, I feel. Back then, that was right before trap music really picked up, and artists like Drake, Kendrick, and J. Cole. J. Cole was on that list too, sorry. But those artists were what was popular. So people were looking for more kind of lyrical rap, but it wasn't as, it was kind of this weird mix where it wasn't super lyrical, but it was, and also super poppy. Now, like I was saying, it's hard to really pin down a particular list each year when the sound doesn't change that much. So you kind of just have to look out and see, alright, who's popping. This year I did fully expect more drill artists to be on it, And I mean, I guess if you want to consider Polo G a drill artist, like, sure. But I think he's more in that melodic rap lane, sorry. So it's interesting. I think next year we'll probably see a lot more drill artists. Or we'll see a shift towards more lyrical rap, because given what's going on right now, I don't think artists are very comfortable making like super poppy music. Like, they want to make music that has more substance to it, because people ain't going out to the club listening to music right now. Going back to the list itself, though, another thing I was touching on was how there's different lanes of rap. So this time around, it's a little bit more drill and melodic rap focused, and there are some rap. Like, you look at Chica, and she's probably the most. So first, before I go ahead, I haven't really listened to everyone on this list. I know of most of these people, so I'm just going off of my initial impressions. But I mean, in my mind, I feel like Chica is the one that's the most lyrical. So they've already found someone for that lane. So the rest of it is just like, we gotta find some trap artists, and we gotta find some drill artists, and we gotta find some singing rap dudes. That's basically what happened, I feel. And that's not bad, though, because this, again, is to showcase the current landscape. That's such an industry word. But like, it's really to showcase the current landscape in the industry. Like, you're not really trying to, like, sure, you're trying to put up artists that are new and popular and people should be looking out for, but I feel like that's kind of a secondary sort of thing nowadays. Like, at least in my mind. Like, I feel they are going for more of a, we have to fit this particular sound profile, and then they figure out what rapper is really excelling in that area and who's new. Because obviously there are artists that were nominated that didn't make it, like Reason, who's probably well, honestly, I'm going to say he's more lyrical than everyone else on this list. But he didn't make it because that was for the 10th spot and everyone had to vote. That's fine. Like, Reason isn't the type of rapper that's going to be super popular right now because he makes more lyrical content. Like, that's not what people are really looking for right now. That's not what's popular. So I'm not surprised. And I think the other thing is that people really treat XXL as like, or their freshman list as kind of like an award show. Like, sure, it kind of is. Like, it's a pretty big achievement to be on the freshman list. But most of the people who are on the freshman list, like every year, they don't really do anything. Like, sometimes they get lucky and they have a solid career. Otherwise, they just kind of disappear into obscurity. And that actually reminds me of this Freddie Gibbs tweet that was up earlier this week or weekend, where he said the average rap career lasts 1 year. And I thought that was funny because, yeah, I mean, most rappers, I mean, that's definitely a hyperbole, and not every rap career is only 1 year, but artists typically have a hard time lasting more than a year or two, especially if they're making more like popular music, because people are like, okay, well, I'm done with you, I'm on to the next hotness. So it's a little bit weird that way. But I just thought it was funny. And just going back to the freshman lists in general, you don't have to agree with the list, and most people don't. That's fair. Like, you are entitled to your opinions. The point is, I feel like XXL doesn't necessarily do the best job of really explaining themselves, if that makes sense, like with what they're trying to do with their list. At least now, because everyone has this in their mind that the XXL freshman list is the 10 best new rappers. Like, they don't really think about everything else that goes into it. They're just like, all right, these are the 10 best rappers for me to be on the lookout for. Why are they all melodic rap? Why are they all drill? Why are they all trap music? Like, that's not what they're trying to go for. At least, I mean, that's how I feel. I feel like they are going for a more like, what is the sound right now, and what artists that are new properly showcase this, and which artists that are new that have a buzz showcase this. That's how I feel it is. Now, like I said, most of the complaints that you are going to hear about the lists are from people who are like, oh, I only like real rap. Alright, bro, like, yes, real rap is a thing, sure. And what that really means is just you like the more lyrical rap. That's totally fine. You can like lyrical rap, and you can be disappointed in the freshman list. That's fine. But you have to understand that the freshman list isn't catered to you specifically. It is catered to the whole hip-hop community. And I think is more for those people who aren't really going into these discussions about who should be on the list and who is the next like lyrical rapper, stuff like that. Like, this list is more for the general public, I'd say. Like, for people who listen to music more passively. And when you think about it, like, this list makes a lot more sense that way, because when you listen to music passively, it's like you just kind of have it on in the background, or you're driving, or you're in the gym, or you're at work. Like, you're not really paying attention to the lyrics, you just want to hear some music. And having like a more popular rap song, like, it's going to be more upbeat, and it's going to be more repetitive hooks and stuff. Same thing like with pop music, like, that's just normal how that goes. Now, and that's why most people, like the general public again, don't really care for lyrical rap. Like, they only want to listen to rap that's fun and like upbeat, and that's totally fine. Like, you're totally entitled to listen to whatever you want. Like, there's no wrong music for you to listen to, unless it's like directly hurting the culture, then that's another thing. But if it's just like say you're listening to Lil Baby, like, and that's your favorite rapper right now, that's fine. You can like Lil Baby. Like, I might not be the biggest fan of Lil Baby, but I'm not gonna go and say, yo, your opinion sucks, you can't listen to Lil Baby, he ain't rap. Like, come on now. But anyways, the list this year, I feel like they did a pretty good job. They picked artists that are pretty popular and fairly new, which is expected. And surprisingly, this time around, I recognize more artists than I have in the past. Maybe that's just because I'm trying to keep more tabs on what's happening on the newer end of hip-hop, just because I need to know what's happening. But this also kind of just adds to the idea that they're going for the more popular new artists, because they could have very easily gone with someone who's completely unknown, but they chose to go with people that have a following, and that makes sense, because that's, again, they're trying to go for the artists that properly showcase the current sound. And you can't properly showcase the current sound if you're not known. Like, it's very hard to do so. Now, the list itself, we have NLE Choppa, Polo G, Chica, Baby Keem, Mulatto, Jack Harlow, Rod Wave, Lil TJ, Cowboy, 5 Foreign, Lil Keed, and 24K Golden. And out of this list, I mean, the person that I'm probably going to listen to the most is going to be Chica, because she makes more music that I would typically listen to and enjoy. But everyone else on this list has a pretty significant fan base, like enough so that they caught XXL's attention. And it's interesting because when they released the list, they actually mentioned how they brought in artists from many regions. So, like, they have NLE from Memphis, and Polo G and Cowboy from Chicago, TJ and 5 Foreign from New York, Baby Keem from Vegas, Jack Harlow from Louisville, Kentucky, Rod Wave is from St. Petersburg, Chica's from Montgomery, Alabama. Mulatto and Keat are from Atlanta, and then 24K Golden's from San Francisco. And that's cool. Like, they got a really wide variety of artists or from different regions. But I don't know how many people have heard this, but Royce da 5'9" was kind of disappointed that they didn't include Detroit artists. I agree. Like, it is kind of upsetting that there was no one from a particular region. But to me, it's like, well, you don't always necessarily have artists from a particular region or from your region that are good enough for the list or have that same sound that the list is going for. That's why I wasn't really tripping off of that. I was surprised that we got someone from the Bay because I never heard of 24K Golden. I thought he was from the Midwest, probably, just based off of the name. I mean, yeah, surprising that we got him. I was honestly rooting for Guap Dad, but that it is what it is. But what I wanted to talk about here is, to those of you who don't care for this list, I would say still check them out. Because who knows, you might end up liking someone on this list. And if not, that's totally fine, because there's so many more artists for you guys to check out and make, like, the artists that make music that you enjoy. Now, again, like I mentioned earlier, this list is okay. It's not bad. It makes sense to me. But what I mentioned before about, as long as the artist isn't hurting the culture, it's totally fine. That still stands. If there were to be an artist on this list that was making music that was directly impacting the culture in a negative way, then we have some issues. Like, for just because it's in my mind recently, Doja Cat, she made that track, Didn't Do Nothing, which, if she was to be chosen on the XXL list, she would be just destroyed, because that song is just so inappropriate. Like, so if you have artists like that who are making music like that and are chosen to be on the list, then there's a problem. But as far as I can tell, no one on this list has negatively said anything negative to hurt the culture. So I think they're all good. But yeah, like I was saying, there's so many artists out there. Like, you don't have to necessarily look to the XXL list for, like, the new sound. Like, there's plenty of other publications out there that really consistently put out lists of new artists. The one that really comes to mind is Pigeons and Planes. Like, they do a great job of making a playlist of new artists that are just good to listen to. And they have a much wider variety. Like, they're not strictly hip-hop, but they also have a bunch of hip-hop artists on there. So they're a really good option. But like I said, there's more than that. There's so many other publications. You can go on Twitter and follow, like, any of the bigger hip-hop Twitter pages, and they probably have a decent playlist for you. They're probably not necessarily the most... They might not include the newest artists, but they typically have pretty good playlists. Like Shrek Loves Rap, like, his playlists are pretty damn solid. I mean, Saba's playlists. But regardless, the music is out there if you want to find it, essentially. Now, as far as this list goes, again, I think it's solid. Like I mentioned, still haven't listened to everyone on this list except for Chica and Fabio Foreign and Baby Keem and Jack Harlow. But I mean, I'm still gonna go and check out Polo G, especially because I've heard he has a much bigger fan base. Sorry, I didn't mute my computer. Yeah, so like he has a pretty big fan base, and he's been pretty popular from what I've heard. I don't know if I'm gonna really like NLE Chopper or Mulatto or Rod Wave. I know I don't really care for Lil TJ, but regardless, I'm still gonna check out the artists that I haven't heard because I'm curious. Like I just want to know why they got chosen and what sort of lane they're really in. Like I know some of them are gonna be more trap, which isn't my favorite most of the time. Sometimes I'm into it. It's really like it has to be like a good mix of trap and melodic rap for me to really like it. But if it's just straight up trap music, it's kind of iffy. But then we also have Chica, who's more of a... She focuses more on her lyrics and her overall, like, sound. Like, to me, her sound is something that I would gravitate towards normally. And in the past, like, I know I think it was last year, where we had I think it was last year, maybe it was 2018, one of those 2 years, but that was like the year where we had the more SoundCloud rapper sort of vibe going on. I think it was with Lil Pump, Ski Mask, and then I know Jid was on that one too, so it was kind of weird because Jid is that super lyrical, technical rapper, and then you have Lil Pump. And again, at the time, I was really disappointed because I'm like, man, Lil Pump sucks. Why did you put him on this list? And that still stands. Like, I don't know why. I mean, I know why Lil Pump was on the list, but I still don't like Lil Pump. But like, I understand because at that time, that was the sound. Like, the sound was this SoundCloud rap. But then we also had this kind of emergence of lyrical rap with Jid. And then I forgot, I don't remember the years, but we had other lists where there was like the 2013 list, let's say, where we had J. Cole, Nipsey Hussle, and others. Like, they continuously find these, like they make sure to fill that slot of lyrical rap, and they do a good job because they pick an artist that does a really good job in that's newer. And that's what I really appreciate, that they understand that if they don't have someone who can rap, people are gonna be upset. So when people complain about this, it's saying like, oh, you ain't got no one that can really rap, they can be like, no, right here. See, they're right here. I don't know if that's the reasoning they had, but who knows. Damn, it's hot. But yeah, like, I guess in conclusion, don't hate on the list that much. Like, don't take it so seriously. Like, treat it like award shows, where even if your favorite artist got nominated, they might not win because they aren't as popular. That's totally normal. Now, I still don't like the idea of treating the freshman list as an award because it's not that important. Like, sure, you can say that, but like, how many artists do you really remember that were on the freshman list? Like, can you really go back and be like, oh yeah, they really did blow up? Like, sure, there's a few of them, but like, you don't, like, even I have a hard time remembering who was on which list and like where their career went. Like, I don't think the freshman list really serves to say these are going to be the artists that are going to do super well, and like these are going to be the ones that are running the streets. Like, this is more of, again, a showcase for the newer artists that are excelling in a particular sound. Will they last? Who knows? We'll find out. But I don't think that's what they're really trying to push. Like, that's not really what they're trying to go for. They're just saying, like, these are the artists of the sound. Oh my god. Like, when we look at last year's list, we had DaBaby and Meg Thee Stallion, and they are still two of the most popular artists right now. But then we have Rico Nasty, who's still very popular in her own lane, but she has a completely different sound. So she obviously isn't at the same level as Meg Thee Stallion or DaBaby. Like, just those two artists just found a lane and they are excelling in it, and they're still doing really well, sales-wise and fan base-wise. Now, I might not be the biggest fan of DaBaby, but I understand that people really like him, and I understand why people like him. Like, same reason for when people ask me why I like Meg Thee Stallion. Like, I like her because she's lyrical and she has charisma. Like, and it's very interesting. Like, you can have your own opinions. Like, you don't have to be one of those people that are like, no, I don't let anyone have their own opinion. You all have to listen to my opinion because my opinion's right. Like, no, that's not what opinions are. Like, opinions are your personal feelings on it. Anyways, the list is just to showcase a particular sound. That's kind of what I'm getting at. Sure, the artists are important because they're kind of the new face of that particular sound, but I don't think we should be paying as much attention to the artists. That sounds bad. Like, we should be paying attention to the artist, but we should also be paying attention to the sound that they have, because that sound is what's going to be popular for at least this year. Like, again, with the SoundCloud rap, that was popular for about a year or two. Like, now that sound has kind of died out. It's totally fine. Now we're continuing the trap sound, but we're also getting this drill sound. So that's what's getting popular. So don't be surprised next year when you see more drill artists included on this list. But there's always going to be that one lyrical rapper for sure. Like, that's just kind of what they do. And I think where the criticisms really come from is that back in the day, like, XXL was really focused on finding these rappers that are super lyrical and just their pen game was immaculate, which made sense. But as time went on, that wasn't what's popular anymore. Like, super lyrical rap isn't popular. Like, it is, but it's also like, that's not what the majority of people are listening to. So XXL had to kind of pivot and change what they're going for. Anyways, that's all I'm going to say now. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of the freshman list, and if you think that they're really just going for sound rather than the particular artists. That's just my opinion, but let me know what you think. And also remember to like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. With that said, thank you for watching, and please stay safe out there.